In the soft, filtered light of a Manhattan morning, the primary bathroom of Kelly Ripa and Mark Consuelos' Upper East Side townhouse does not merely function. It performs. It holds court. It remembers. There, in the center of a room finished in luminous marble, gold-edged mirrors, and the quiet gleam of nickel and crystal, sits a white tufted chaise longue. It is not an afterthought or a decorative flourish placed for the camera. It is the heart of the space, the deliberate, almost theatrical heart. Ripa once described its inspiration with a theatrical flourish of her own. The scene in Mommy Dearest in which Faye Dunaway, as Joan Crawford, reclines on a white satin chaise and applies lotion to her elbow with the exaggerated grace of a woman who understands that glamour is both armor and art. "I had Bill make me an identical replica of it," she said of designer William Sofield. The original hammered satin proved too delicate for real life. One casual recline ruined the surface. It was recovered in a more forgiving cotton silk blend, yet the spirit remained. The chaise still waits, plush and expectant, as if a 1940s starlet might at any moment arrange herself upon it and begin the day's ritual of self-possession. This bathroom is a lesson in 100-year-old glamour, not the brittle, museum glass version of the past, but the living, breathing kind that still knows how to hold a room. Art Deco, born in the 1920s and flowering through the 1930s, was never merely a style of geometry and chrome. It was an attitude, the belief that everyday life could be elevated, that even the most private acts, bathing, dressing, preparing the face for the world, deserved ceremony. In this room, that attitude has been carefully, affectionately revived. Marble walls rise like pale cliffs. Large slabs underfoot reflect the light in soft, watery plains. Gold accents catch the eye without shouting. Touches of green, velvet, glass, the occasional botanical note, prevent the white from becoming clinical. Mirrors are everywhere, but they are not the ordinary bathroom kind. 3 gold-framed mirrors with textural detail line the back of the vanity. Matching shapes appear on the fronts of the sinks themselves. The effect is not vanity in the modern Instagram sense. It is multiplication. Light bounces. Space expands. A single figure becomes a small ensemble of reflections, each one slightly different, each one a reminder that identity is always, in part, performance. The freestanding tub, a Waterworks Candide model with Samuel Heath fittings, anchors one end of the room like a silver-plated vessel from another century. It has been used, on at least one documented occasion, for the dyeing of a hand-knit scarf. The image is perfect. A contemporary television host, known for her quick wit and morning show energy, treating a luxurious bathtub as a dye vat because the color had to be exactly right. Glamour, in this house, is not fragile. It is willing to get its hands wet. To understand why this bathroom feels like a lesson rather than a mere luxury, one must step back a century. The 1920s and 1930s were decades of radical reinvention. Women had gained the vote in many places. Hemlines rose. Hair was bobbed. The old Victorian heaviness, dark woods, cluttered surfaces, moral seriousness, gave way to lightness, speed, and a new kind of elegance that celebrated the body rather than concealing it. Bathrooms themselves were transforming. Once hidden, utilitarian spaces, they began to claim architectural attention. White became the color of modernity and hygiene, but designers soon learned that pure white needed texture, metal, and the occasional bold gesture to avoid sterility. Art Deco answered with stepped forms, mirrored surfaces, exotic woods, and the luxurious insistence that a bathroom could feel like a private salon. Joan Crawford, the very figure who inspired the chaise, embodied that era's complicated glamour. She was a star who understood the camera's demands and the public's hunger for transformation. The Mommy Dearest scene, however campy or contested its historical accuracy, captures something essential: the private ritual of preparation as a form of self-creation. Lotion on the elbow. The careful arrangement of limbs. The assumption that even solitude deserves beauty. Ripa's decision to recreate that moment in 3 dimensions is not nostalgia for nostalgia's sake. It is an acknowledgement that certain gestures still work. A woman alone in her bathroom, taking time with her own body, is still a powerful image. So Field's design for the townhouse as a whole leans into early 20th century French glamour filtered through a New York sensibility. Dual Art Deco-style armoires hide the practical detritus of family life: scooters, sports equipment. Dining chairs attributed to Maurice Jallet sit beneath a pendant light handmade in Italy. Ocean liner sconces appear in a bedroom. The house does not pretend to be a period recreation. It is a conversation with the past conducted by people who live fully in the present. The bathroom is simply the most intimate chapter of that conversation. Consider the mirrors again. In ordinary modern design, a large mirror is often treated as a functional necessity or a space-expanding trick. Here the mirrors are multiplied, framed, and given textural life. They create a soft infinity of reflection. Standing at the vanity, one sees not only one's own face, but the room continuing behind and around, the light doubling and redoubling. There is a quiet philosophical suggestion in this. The self is never singular. We are always, to some degree, an audience for ourselves. The old Hollywood stars understood this instinctively. They practiced expressions in mirrors. They studied the way light fell across a cheekbone. The bathroom of Kelly Ripa and Mark Consuelos quietly continues that practice without requiring anyone to be a star. The green accents matter more than they first appear. An all-white bathroom risks feeling like a laboratory or a spa designed by committee. A velvet ottoman or footstool in a deep green, colored glass vessels on the counter, the occasional botanical detail, these introduce the organic into the crystalline. They keep the room from becoming a pure geometry of hard surfaces. 100 years ago, designers mixed materials with similar intuition: the cool of marble against the warmth of wood, the flash of metal against the softness of fabric. The principle has not aged. There is also the question of use. This is not a showpiece locked away from daily life. The chaise has been sat upon, the tub has held dye, the mirrors have reflected real faces at the end of long days and the beginning of early mornings. Glamour that cannot survive contact with living is only costume. The recovered cotton silk upholstery is a small parable. The purest fantasy sometimes needs adjustment to remain livable. The lesson is not that one must choose between beauty and practicality, but that beauty can be made practical enough to endure. Walk through the rest of the house, and the theme continues in different keys. The dining room's leather-paneled walls and hand-knotted silk and wool rug. The media lounge's black lacquer folding screen in the manner of Eileen Gray. The careful balance of drama and comfort. Yet the bathroom remains the most concentrated expression. It is the room where the public face is prepared and, later, where the private self is allowed to rest. In an age of constant visibility, social media, live television, the endless documentation of ordinary life, a space designed for deliberate, almost ceremonial privacy feels radical. 100 years is both a long time and no time at all. The Art Deco impulse to make the ordinary extraordinary has not disappeared. It has simply been diluted by mass production, minimalist dogma, and the pressure to treat interiors as temporary stage sets for content. This bathroom refuses that dilution. It insists that a morning routine can still feel like an entrance, that a chaise can still invite the body to arrange itself with intention, that mirrors can multiply light and presence rather than merely reflect a hurried face. Imagine, for a moment, the sequence of a morning in this room. The light enters, soft and gray or bright and hard depending on the season. Water runs. Steam rises. The chaise receives a body still half in sleep. Lotion is applied, not necessarily with Dunaway's theatrical elbow raise, but with the same underlying attention. Clothes are chosen. The face is prepared. The mirrors offer multiple angles, multiple versions. Then the door opens and the day begins. The room remains, holding its quiet glamour until evening, when the sequence may reverse, the washing away of the public self, the return to the private one.